Well, we're back with another episode of Love for AP50s. I've made the exhaust up, and I'm going to explain what I did here. This is a French exhaust, which has been modified. This is one of the downpipes that I sell, and that's one of the new nuts that I sell. The French exhaust is restricted. It's restricted in two ways. One is with the baffle. This is a French baffle. But I actually think this might be a Dutch exhaust because of the way everything works. But anyway, they should be approximately the same. And this is a UK baffle. As you can see, there's a vast difference. To de-restrict the baffle end, you need this tool here that's made up with a 30mm hole saw and the modified end bit where the drill would have gone. I've made this bit up from a 14mm coach bolt that I turned down the end so it will go into the lock screw here. That still wasn't quite large enough, but it was the largest bit of solid metal I had. But I had a hollow tube that was the right inner and outer diameter to go on there, so I slipped that over and welded the end up. That's because you're going to be drilling out these. This hole is what the original baffle would have gone through. It goes through there. As you can see, the UK baffle won't go through it. Now that is the same size as the spigot I've made up. You drill down from this end into the exhaust. There are 3 plates that you need to drill out. The only reason I've got 2 in my hand is because the other one fell underneath my workbench and I can't reach it. The other restriction is at this end. Now this is where I say I think it's a Dutch exhaust, because I've never come across this bit before. This bit I have, the flange. The flange is what the original smaller downpipe would have gone into. And this piece is to change where the power is on the engine. This gives it more low down grunt than top end power. Well, what you get out of a reed valve engine for the A50s and K50s. Right, so you cut this off, just cut round the flange. That will then pull out with that. You then have to grind back. Now originally there's a weld around here on all the bikes. That's Dutch, French and English. You want to grind to the weld. Don't grind the weld all the way back, because that leaves a little piece of the flange that the downpipe goes into to give you a nice tight fit. Now the downpipes I sell, I ask them to make one end, this end longer. Unfortunately, they made this end longer. So you have to cut about 1 inch off of this end, weld it onto here. That extra piece isn't needed because it is needed, but it's not seen. That's because the joint that you where you're going to do is going to end up about here. It's to support everything while you're building it. The flange also comes separate on my downpipes. So what you have to do is, if you've got your original one, you cut it the best you can, because it's extremely difficult, because as you can see, there's all angles and everything on this. So you cut that to the right length, then you feed your end into there after you mounted it on. Oh, by the way, as I said, this is a French exhaust, so it's a little bit easier to do this with, because it's got the two mountings, one down there and one up here. That means that the exhaust stays in place when you're building the bike, building it up. Keeps it all in the right place, keeps it all square to the swing arm, and keeps it all at the right angle, the right height, everything. So you slide your new piece in, and then making sure you've greased a gasket, exhaust gasket, onto the head, the barrel flange. You then offer this up to make sure you've got the angle right. You then grind or file this to get to the angle right. When you've got it right, you taper the edge, say in effect, say this is the upright end. You taper all the way around here, and you slide the flange on. But it's not a slide, it's a tap. It's a very, very tight fit. You want to tap it so it sticks about 3 mil through the flange. You then reassemble it with the exhaust nut, with the gasket, and you do it up tight. You adjust this height so it's all in about the right place and looks visually okay. Now these are handmade pipes, so they're not going to be exactly right. As you can see, the curves are a slightly different angle. That's because this is a 35mm outside diameter pipe, and getting the mandrels to bend the pipe is very hard, so you have to make do with what you got. But as you can see, it's not that bad. You then, like I say, you do this up tight. Doing this up tight with the gasket and then moving this will move the downpipe in the flange you fitted. It will set it all up at the right angle, and being tight, it will keep it in place. You then undo everything, weld up round your flange, which will be round here. What it's best to do is now angle the inside so that the very top bit is very thin. That means that when you weld it, you're going to get proper penetration on the downpipe without destroying the top lip. Obviously, you're not going to be dead flat. You're going to have lumps and bumps. So you use a file or a grinder, it depends how good you are with the grinder, to make this flat again, this edge. Use a die grinder on the inside, but you don't take it 100%. You take it about 98% the way back, because you don't want to remove so much weld it's not going to stick. And then you weld it all back together and refit, and this is what you end up with. My welding isn't good enough to leave this as a weld, so I had to dress it. But it's all ready to go at the Chromers. I don't know what the next episode's going to be, but it's going to be a cracker. See you soon.